Let me tell you a cool story about a movie called Super Me from 2019. Get ready for some drama, mystery, and fantasy, but beware, there are spoilers ahead. Meet Sang Yu, a lonely scriptwriter who's struggling with a lot in life. No job, no friends, and sadly his parents are no more. But here's the kicker. He can't catch a break when it comes to sleep because a pesky demon shows up in his dreams, turning them into terrifying nightmares. In tonight's dream, Sang Yu finds himself in the subway, only to be attacked by the demon. This fiend grabs him by the hair, drills a hole in the floor, and shoves his head through it, ending his dream self's life. Creepy, right? He wakes up, shaken, and decides to do some writing. However, his landlord interrupts with food, but Sang Yu, lacking rent money, escapes through the window. As he strolls the streets, memories flood back of all the experts he consulted about his dreams: psychologists, doctors, scientists, religious folks, all with different theories, but no concrete solutions. Hungry, he stops at a food stand, ordering a crepe without eggs, the only thing he can afford. The crepe man surprises him with a free egg, lifting his spirits a bit. While waiting for his meager meal, Sang Yu spots Hua Er, the girl he's been crushing on, working at a nearby cafe. They met years ago when she was playing with her band at a bar. Sang Yu was captivated by her beautiful singing voice and hasn't stopped thinking about her since. Just as he starts to enjoy his crepe, enter Sangay, his manager. Panicking, Sang Yu drops his crepe in his attempt to escape, but he's too weak to get far. Sangay catches up and takes him to a restaurant, scolding him for not meeting contract obligations and missing script deadlines. Sang Yu tries to explain his insomnia struggles, but Sangay isn't buying it, giving him just 10 days to finish the script. Later, Sang Yu heads back to his apartment, only to discover it's locked, and all his belongings are in the hallway. He's officially been kicked out by his landlord. Desperate, he tries to write at a cafe, but hunger takes over, and he dozes off. That's when the demon strikes again, wrapping chains around Sang Yu's neck and banging his head on the table. Waking up the next morning after his dream self's demise, Sang Yu finds his laptop gone. Feeling lost and unable to distinguish nightmares from reality, he sends Sangay a message hinting at suicide, choosing the roof of the building across from Hua Er's cafe. As he teeters on the edge, ready to jump, the crepe man intervenes, offering him free food. Together on the roof, the crepe man shares insights on death and dreams. His advice is simple. When nightmares strike, Sang Yu should say, "I'm dreaming," to snap out of them faster. Sang Yu stays on the roof until night, selling his cell phone for money to buy food. At a convenience store, tempted to steal, he changes his mind when he notices someone watching. While eating outside, Hua Er surprises him with concern. But the twist is coming. Hua Er is the demon. She pushes Sang Yu against the store's glass, making it seem like a panic attack to the clerk. As the demon stabs him, Sang Yu recalls the crepe man's advice, telling himself it's a dream, and wakes up mid-fall. In reality, he's flying through shattered glass, miraculously holding the demon's sword without a scratch. After escaping the store, Sang Yu spends the night in the park, examining the demon's sword to make sure he's not stuck in another dream. Come morning, he heads to the flea market to sell the sword, realizing its value from eager buyers. Instead of selling it there, he goes to a pawn shop, where he gets a cool 20,000 for it. Quick to spend, Sang Yu buys a new computer, dines at a fancy restaurant, and stays in a posh hotel. At night, he takes sleeping pills and waits for his usual dream, set in the hotel. Wandering the hallway, he tries his usual trick, yelling, "I'm dreaming," but nothing happens. As he explores, the demon appears, wielding a giant gold axe. After a brawl with the demon, Sang Yu seizes the axe, repeating his mantra. He wakes up, axe in hand, unharmed. Selling the axe nets him more cash, splurging on clothes, a new car, and a night of drinks with some ladies. Back in his hotel, Sang Yu gives the women cab money but keeps them out. Trying a new tactic, he looks at museum pictures before sleep, ensuring his dream matches. In the dream, he grabs antiques but faces the demon armed with a firearm. Dodging bullets, he collects the loot, waking up with the treasures. Selling them to antique dealers brings in 2 million. During the deal, Sang Yu avoids questions and bumps into a furious Sangay, who thought he was dead. Sang Yu treats him to a fancy meal, repaying script money, announcing he's done with writing. The next day, he enters Huayer's cafe, orders a latte, and questions her about selling the place due to debts and no customers. Later that night, Sang Yu gets drunk with Sanjay, who wants to know the secret to his success. Sanjay brings Sang Yu to his hotel room, tucking him in, and pretending to leave. Sneakily, he checks Sang-Yu's wallet and checkbook. Suddenly, Sang-Yu wakes up with gold chains in hand. Now aware of the secret, Sang-Yu pleads with Sang-Ge to join him in this new venture. After some consideration, Sang-Yu agrees. The next day, Sang-Yu purchases Hua-Er's cafe, proposing that she continues to run it while they share the profits, with him covering any losses. In gratitude, Hua-Er invites him to dinner, expressing suspicion about Sang-Yu's motives beyond money. From then on, Sang-Yu embarks on regular dream adventures, while Sang-Ge safeguards his sleeping body. In one dream, he demonstrates newfound control by robbing a bank, fighting the demon, and moving objects with his mind, even bringing back a red car. Later, Hua-Er's cafe thrives with clients, thanks to Sang-Yu paying people on the streets to come. He leaves money for the crepe man as a thank you gesture. After closing, Sang-Yu strolls with Hua-Er, who guesses he's a scriptwriter. He begins escorting her home daily, and one night he lets her drive the red dream car, gifting it to her. Hua-Er assumes he's a famous scriptwriter. As she drives, Sang-Yu reminisces about the day he first met her. After her show, witnessing her cry over an ex, and discreetly following her to the movies. In the present, he invites her to the movies, and she wonders when they'll watch a movie he wrote. To avoid being caught in a lie, Sang-Yu writes a real script, giving it to Sang-Ge to read while he dreams. Constantly thinking about Hua-Er, he dreams of being surrounded by multiple versions of her, waking up to find Sang-Ge in tears over the outstanding script. Their scheme kicks off. They sell the script to a movie company, using their own money to hire top-notch stars, aiming for a blockbuster. They organize a special dinner event to honor Sang-Yu, taking Hua-Er as his +1. A presentation highlights his fictional career, boasting of many uncredited successful movies as he traveled the world. In a peculiar dream, Sang-Yu finds a meditating monk whose belt disintegrates his hand when touched. Undeterred, he persists, and when he finally removes the belt, the monk disintegrates too, and the usual demon is nowhere to be seen. On another night, Sang-Yu treats Hua-Er to a rooftop fireworks show, promising he won't disappear suddenly. Later at her apartment, as she freshens up, Sang-Yu practices a confession, but is interrupted by a mysterious force hitting his chest. Back home, he ignores Sang-Ge's party and heads to bed. In the dream, he encounters an older version of himself disintegrating in an empty building. Upon waking, Sang-Yu discovers new scars on his shoulder, matching previous demon-inflicted wounds. The next day, Sang-Yu visits the crepe man seeking advice. On the way, a van suddenly appears and kidnaps him. Blindfolded, he finds himself in an abandoned building surrounded by a gang led by Sang-Ge. Sang-Yu, desperate, offers to pay them whatever they want. They settle on 10 million, and Sang-Yu calls Sang-Ge to bring the money. When Sang-Ge arrives, they take both the money and him. Sang-Yu, with no choice, brings the whole group to his apartment, showing them his secret room of antiques. Sang-Ge tries to force a confession about the rare items. Just then, Hua-Er arrives at the building. To protect her, Sang-Yu lies to her through the intercom, but the receptionist, sensing her distress, allows her to go up. Once upstairs, Hua-Er is captured and brought to Sang-Yu's location. Sang-Ge taunts her, revealing Sang-Yu's lies. Displeased with Sang-Ge's behavior, one of his men, expecting only a money grab, is punished with a beating, using golden knuckles. As Sang-Ge turns to Hua-Er, she kicks him, giving Sang-Ge an opportunity to attack with a vase. Sang-Yu bites one thug, escaping, but not without being stabbed. The trio flees as Sang-Ge shoots the beaten man. Sang-Yu struggles to walk due to his wounds, making escape challenging. Sang-Yu and Hua-Er are running for their lives, chased by these nasty dudes. They're on the stairs, trying to escape, but the bad guys catch up. One of them stabs Sang-Yu, but hold on. Here comes Sang-Ge, a true hero. He stays back to distract the thugs, giving Sang-Yu and Hua-Er a chance to flee. But sadly, 2 against 1 is just too much. The poor guy, Sang-Ge, gets beaten up real bad, even to the point of no return. Now, the thugs get their hands on Sang-Yu and Hua-Er upstairs. It's a brutal scene. They're tossed around like ragdolls. Sang-Yu tries to fight back, stabbing one of the thugs with a dagger, but no mercy from these baddies. Our heroes pass out, and here's where it gets interesting. Sang-Yu wakes up in some mysterious ruins, covered in a weird black substance. It disappears as he moves. He touches a glowing door arch, and boom. Flashback time. He sees his life, the real stuff, and even dreams. There's even a version of him taken away by an ambulance one night. Trippy, right? After the flashback, he finds himself in front of a giant crystal wall. Sang-yu starts hitting it, shouting, "I'm dreaming," until he passes out from blood loss. Surprise! His body transforms, and now he's a full-blown demon with a machete. He imagines some twisted scenarios, hitting the crystal wall like a boss. The wall finally breaks, and the demon steps into Sang-yu's living room. Thug fighting time. The demon takes down all the baddies, even conjuring up a cool firearm. Now, he's after Sang-yu, ready to finish the job. But Sang-yu mutters, "I'm dreaming," and all the dream stuff starts disappearing. Antique disappearing act. Sang-yu passes out again, and guess what? He wakes up outside the convenience store, back to the beginning. Hua-ir finds him, recognizes him from a concert, and decides to help. She takes him to her place, and they share some real food. As Sang-yu slurps his noodle soup, Hua-ir drops a bombshell. She's read one of his stories in a magazine and thinks it's top-notch. She believes all he needs is a stroke of luck to hit the big time. To sweeten the deal, she offers him a job at her cafe. This revelation causes Sang-yu to lose it, tears streaming down his face. Surprise, surprise. Hua-ir's known all along that he's been keeping an eye on her. Time ticks on, and they find themselves working side by side at the cafe. Hua-ir, being the generous soul, hands Sang-yu a shiny new laptop for his writing adventures. Later, Sang-yu meets up with Sang-gi at a restaurant, returning the money he borrowed. Why? Because he's not into writing on demand. He wants to pen down what his heart desires. But hold on tight. Sang-gi not only refuses the cash back, but hands him even more. Turns out, he sold one of Sang-yu's old scripts. Celebration time, and Sang-yu picks up the tab. Fast forward a bunch of days, and Sang-yu's loving life. He swings by the crepe man for some grub. But here's the kicker. The crepe man hands back the money Sang-yu paid him earlier and reveals a scar on his stomach. Turns out, he once had the same powers as Sang-yu, but he chose the simple life. As Sang-yu hears the crepe man's tale, the ruins from his last dream pop up behind him. Plot twist. The new demon that wiped out the thugs has been tailing him since he reappeared at the convenience store. Drama, revelations, and a dash of the supernatural. This story's got it all.